Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting on Monday, July 22nd. We have a full house tonight, so we're going to try to move through the agenda a little bit. We're going to do some juggling of the agenda a little bit to accommodate. So we'll start with Beth with the roll call, please.
Select Chair, Mr. DeRoche.
Here.
Select Vice Chair, Mr. Coy.
He's excused. He's traveling.
Selectman, Mr. Gifford.
Present.
Selectman, Ms. Costa.
Present.
Selectman, Mr. Britton.
He's excused as well.
Note for the record, we have Town Manager, Mr. Colby present, and we have several junior firefighters and Eagle Scouts and a few other firefighters in attendance. Thank you.
Can we all rise for the pledge? Would you lead us in the pledge, Alex?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we are going to move the public comment to after D in our agenda, so that will be a few minutes. And we're going to move right into our agenda items, recognition of our Eagle Scouts. So if I could have up our Eagle Scouts, Alex Hool, Evan Hool, and Allie Galvin. Good evening. How are we all doing?
Good, how are you?
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks for being here tonight. Thank you. We wanted to take a moment to recognize your efforts for enhancing our community. So I'll hand it over to you guys to talk about what you've done.
Open these pictures. Let's go like that. Okay. Hello, my name is Evan Hool, and I am recently an Eagle Scout in the town of Plastow. So my Eagle project was helping out the rec with their new trail over at the park. Specifically, I was putting up blazes to the trees to mark where the trail goes. So what I started, I presented my projects or my proposal for the Lions Club to asking for a donation to fund the project. And then after I got approved by the Eagle board, I went on Facebook, the community page, and I put up a post asking for the trim board material that I'd make the markers out of it because it's a very weather resistant material. And then I got a couple donations from people who had scrap stuff from broken fences that they just cut down and weren't ever going to use. That was pretty dirty. And then a company in Plastow called Integrity Roofing made a pretty large donation of the rest of what I needed for my project.
Nice.
And after I collected all of that, I cut it down to size and then painted it with my friends. And then after that, it was just 2 work days that I scheduled that were going through the trail during the winter because it was late and just screwed them up. And in total, I think it was over 150 hours of service to the town.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. How was it getting out there during the winter?
It was early winter, so it wasn't bad. I think only in some of these pictures there is snow, but only one of the days had snow on the ground. And then, unfortunately, my brother Alex is not here because he is going camping right now. But his project was for the Historical Society. Excuse me. The attic in their building has become disorganized and cluttered over the years. His project was to build shelves and help move items and furniture to make it easier to sort and find items. Alex started his project by presenting to the Lions Club, as I did, where they gave him a generous donation. In the fall of 2023, he held a car wash at Sullivan Tire where scouts from Troop 18 helped to raise over $900. His next step was to have a work party at the Plastow Historical Society where they moved furniture, which they later sold for some more fundraising. And then when we were there on that day, I have a picture of it, we found in the attic of the Historical Society that big PFD letters right there from that. It was because it was the old fire station.
Yep. And
then the next day he did with one other scout, he moved some filing cabinets in there so that they could from the back of the office to the attic so that they could clear a community room for people to use as a meeting room or whatever they need it for. And the last day of the workday was Alex and members of Troop 18 built the shelves. And all in total, Alex's projects required over 100 hours of planning and execution, and he was able to donate $50 out of the remaining funds to the Historical Society.
Wow, that's excellent. I saw that before all that work was done, and it was a lot of work that you guys had done. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
there was a lot. Yeah, your pictures.
Excellent.
So, I'm Allie Galvin. I am awaiting my board review, so I don't have my Eagle Scout yet, but I will around this time next month. The project is done and everything. We're just waiting on my board review meeting. I also did my project for the Historical Society. What I did was I built trash and recycling sheds, for them. For their trash and recycling bins, because they had been storing those big like town bins inside, and it was taking up a lot of space that they could be using for other things. So we built this shed for them. It took, so I hosted several like work nights for where scouts and family helped me build this shed. It took over 350 hours to complete the project. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people came and helped out, so it was great. For fundraising, I did a bake sale at the town voting. Thank you, Mr. Gifford, for making that happen. We raised over $2,000, and out of that, I was able to donate back over $400 to the Historical Society.
Wow. Great job. That's awesome. Well, great job. We have a couple certificates for you guys we'd like to present, so I'd like to give one out to Evan. There you go. And I'll give you Alex as well. Hope he's having fun camping. So there you go. Congratulations. And here's your brothers. Congratulations, Alan. Thank you very much. There you go. We'll join your juniors.
You want the photo?
All right, thank you. Well, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, I will have Chief Knudsen and Lieutenant Travers come up and talk about the junior firefighters. If you can get through the crowd. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
How are we doing?
It's a good night, and we're glad to be in front of you tonight to talk about a wonderful program that we started 2 years ago.
A little over 2 years ago, yep.
So we developed a junior firefighting program, and tonight we're going to bring some of our participants in front of you who just attended a week-long academy at the state's New Hampshire Fire Academy about the end of June or so.
Okay.
So I don't want to steal any of the thunder from Lieutenant Travers. He's the one that really runs this program, and I'd like for him to share his thoughts of that week and the program in general.
Thanks, Chief.
Great.
So I think it's been about a year since the last time I've been here, and I just want to kind of bring you up to speed as to where we are with our junior program as far as how we've developed it. Obviously, as you can see, the last time we were here, we had 5 kids. Today, our kids represented 27% of the Fire Academy's participants this year. We sent 15 kids to the academy. 13 graduated, 2 had to leave for various reasons. That was no fault of theirs, and they they would have graduated if they didn't have their couple things happen. But that being said, I'm very proud of where we're at today. The 15 kids don't represent everybody that's in the program. We have a couple of kids that aren't here tonight, and we have a couple of kids waiting in the wings to start up when we get going back in when we start the school year over again this year. So we're running about 20 kids. Most of the participants are from Timberlane. We have a couple of kids from Salem. And then we have one girl from Manchester who actually lives half-time in Plastow, and we have one kid from Atkinson who lives half-time in Atkinson. So our program is growing. They make it easy for me to come because they want to be here. It's not it's not hard for me to do this program when I get kids who want to show up and want to have fun and want to enjoy it, and that's what's made it very easy for me. Some of the fruits of our labors. We currently have three of our juniors who will be attending the New Hampshire State Fire Academy starting August 2nd. As part of that, they are going to be live-in students with the Lakes Region Community College, where they're going to get the associate's degree in fire science. They're going to obtain their Fire 1 and their Fire 2 while they're up there, and then get their associate's degree in fire science. Junior Lieutenant Haggerty and Jacob Raymond are going to be attending the Meredith Fire Department as live-in students, and Junior Lieutenant Allie Galvin will be attending the Sanborn Fire Department. So they're actually going to live in the stations. They're going to be able to make some money. They're going to go to college. They're going to get their degrees. They're going to be, and then they're going to be active members of those fire departments while they're up there. So that's a great attribute to what we're doing up there. So we started a command staff. We have 3 junior lieutenants currently who all participated in board-style interviews, and we grilled them for about an hour apiece when we did their interview processes. And then the funny thing is that some of the kids came back to me and I said, "Well, how'd your interviews go up in Meredith?" And like, "Wow, yours was a lot harder." So, I want these kids to understand that what we're doing here is preparing them for the future, and their interview process kind of starts right from the beginning of this junior program. When they go up to the academy, they're going to be watched over by a bunch of people, and I think it's important for them to understand that they have the eyes are on them right now.
Excellent.
That being said, their week up at the academy were broken down into 3 groups. We had the first year groups, second year groups, and third year groups. So we're kind of broken down by age. They were 14, 15, 16, 17, and then depending on how old you were in the 17 group, you were like a 17, 18 group. We had most of our kids fell in the first and second year groups per se, the 14, 15s and the 16, 17s. The 14, 15s did evolutions in SCBA management, putting on their PPE, hose advancement, ladders, and then the second older kids did a little bit more advanced stuff. They did some wildlands firefighting. They did intro to hazmat, advanced hose and SCBA, advanced search and rescue, and then our older kids really kind of dove into what they're going to do at the academy. So for those kids, it was kind of like their spring training, and that's how I told them to approach it. I'm like, you're going up there. This is kind of your spring training. So they all had a great week up there, and they've all come back stronger than they were. I can't be more proud of the kids that are up there, and that's the bottom line. I will tell you one more thing is we've developed a ride-along program with our kids as well. Our kids are able to come in on 8-hour blocks and ride with the fire department. They become part of the fire department. They're responsible for station chores and training, whatever we do for training that day. And they've been very receptive. And it's funny, every time I put out the schedules of the captains, I always put out, if there's any issues, please notify me right away. I've gotten no issues so far. It's been absolutely great to see the camaraderie between the kids and the staff. And we're very protective of them. We bring them when we bring them into a call when we know it's okay. We don't bring them into a call when we know it's not okay. But they have been, seeing some of these kids, they're glowing and they're walking down a path that I think we need more of. And there's been a struggle in the last few years of retaining and bringing on more firefighters and EMTs. I also want to mention we have 5 kids now in EMT school. The 3 that are going up to Lakes Region, plus 2 others. One of them is a brother of one of our juniors, but he's interested in applying here. We have applications into our departments. So the program is doing exactly what the program is doing. Is it's trying to put our bodies in the seats, and we're doing great. And we've also collaborated with Timberlane High School. Our kids now can get 2 high school credits out of the program. So I started this as a hobby. Doing this 2 hours a week for every other Sunday to like every Sunday for 4 hours. And the kids are enjoying it. So
Excellent.
Without further ado, I know you guys, If you don't mind, I actually got one thing I'd like to do before you pass out your awards.
Excellent. Go for it.
So as I said, we have a command structure, and we're losing 2 of our junior lieutenants, and we have 1 left. So come the fall, when we start back up, we're going to have more interviews for junior lieutenants, so we can have 3 junior lieutenants. Tonight, I'm promoting our 1 junior lieutenant who's not moving on to junior captain. That's Alora Delaney. Alora won the Chiefs Resiliency Award at the New Hampshire Fire Academy while she was up there for the week. And she has been my shining star throughout this whole program. So without further ado, I'd like to promote Alora Delaney to junior captain.
I'd like us to add that this program is a direct result in believing in your employees, empowering them to take a lead, and allowing them the autonomy that they deserve to be able to do their job. And this is the result of that.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, Derek.
Thank you.
So what I'll do now is we have certificates for all of you, so congratulations. I'll call your name up. If you guys could just come up, and we'll line you up here, and we can take some pictures with you and the chief and Lieutenant Travers, and then we could ask you to escort outside, and you can take more pictures outside, okay? So we'll start with Camden Travers. Maximus Sylvester. There you go, Maximus. Congratulations. There you go. Okay.
There we go. All right. Just my venue here.
Next is Daniel Sullivan.
It's lonely over here.
The picture's gonna be from here on over.
Jacob Raymond. James Moran. Congratulations, Jadra. Good job. All right. Esme Johnston. Take a picture. Good. Congratulations. Thank you.
Perfect. Gentleman that started this whole thing.
Yeah. I don't need to take a picture. Keenan Haggerty. Caleb Goldman. Alexandra Galvin. John Fitzgerald. Congratulations, sir.
You got a hell of a name to live up to, kid.
Sure does. For those who don't know, his great-grandfather, his great-grandfather's name is on the building, on the fire department, so, former chief.
Laura Delaney. Sarah Boucher.
Here, but we can just mention his name. His mother's here to take this. Okay.
Next up is Logan Benko, but I don't believe he's here this evening. All right.
Mother's here.
Would you like to come in? And Mason Zabolts. Congrats, Mason. So,
I'd also just like to say thank you to the Merrimack, New Hampshire Fire Department, because the Merrimack Fire Department donated all these uniform shirts to the kids. This is over $2,000 worth of uniform shirts.
Wow.
All right, if you could have them in 2 rows for a group picture, it's gonna be a tight squeeze. So if you guys can stand right from Chief Newsom on downwards to.
Gets down on the knee.
Yeah. If we could do 2 rows and.
If you're smaller.
Okay. All right. If you guys can all look over here. Actually, you can all shift a little bit in this direction, just so we can get this junk out of the way. So everyone can shift over here. You guys included, if you can just kind of move over. There we go. Much better. All right. If you can all look at this camera first, and then so I'm gonna do a couple shots here. Perfect. Okay, and make sure that you can see me and I can see you. I'm gonna do a couple more shots. And then you're yours? All set? Good. All right.
Hold on.
I'll get an extra. Okay.
Nesbitt's screwing it up for everybody.
Okay. Perfect.
Congratulations, everyone. Great job. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Great job. See you back at the firehouse at some point in time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Eagle Scouts. That's it. We need to give this back to the chief. should have done that.
All right. Just give it one more moment for folks to filter out.
No problem. I appreciate what you did. Without you, I wouldn't be here.
All right, that's something to be proud of. Those parents should be very proud of the future firefighters of Plastow. So, thank you, Chief, and thank you, Lieutenant Travers. So, next up, Chief Knudsen, we have recognition of paramedics.
Yes, again, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am honored and delighted to bring a story in front of this board tonight that I think you all will be very pleased and happy with. A little over 2 years ago, I brought some deficiencies in our ambulance services for the town in front of this board, and we all worked together as a team with the town manager, with you all, to develop solutions to that problem. And on March 1st, 2024, we started our own ambulance service. And right off the bat, we started making a lot of differences in response times and taking care of people. I knew this day would come. I wasn't expecting it to come as soon as it did, but our response times make a difference. Your support that you give this department makes a difference. 74 days into our new ambulance service, we were alerted for a male patient who had collapsed at his house. Call came in, patient collapsed, not breathing, and does not have a pulse, and that bystanders were starting CPR. If response times matter, it's in this call right now. Our staff responded from the time they were alerted. They were in the ambulance and a fire engine responding to the call within 17 seconds. They know I'm watching. They know the expectations. They want to do good things. They get moving. They're on the scene in 3 minutes and 49 seconds from being dispatched. Okay. When you have a patient that's in cardiac arrest outside of a hospital, they only have a 10% chance of survival. Okay. 10% outside of a hospital setting. For every minute it takes us to arrive on the scene, they're losing another 7 to 10% chance of survival from that only 10% to begin with. So we have an exceptional case tonight. We have a very special individual here. Ronald is the patient. And he's here tonight because of the support that you give us, the funding that the taxpayers give us, the professionalism of our staff that responded to this call. You've empowered us to make a difference, and that's what we intend to do, and that's what we are doing. Okay. Ronald was without a pulse for 21 minutes and 20 seconds. That's how long our providers were caring for him until we could get a pulse back and then transporting him to an appropriate facility where they could do long-term care and get him back here so he could be with his family and not planning a funeral. They're planning the next dinner and event.
That's terrific.
So
Really terrific.
with that, I'd like to recognize some people and give them what we call an official commendation from the chief for life-saving efforts. And as I call the names of the individuals out, you could stay right here, Melanie, okay?
Okay.
As I call the individuals out, I'd like for them to kind of stand up along like where our juniors were standing just a minute ago as I call you out and explain the different roles and responsibilities you had in making a difference in this person's life. The very first person is Melanie Hill. Stepdaughter?
Me.
Yeah, you. You were there when it happened. You recognized what happened. You immediately called 911 and you started CPR. That is so, so important that bystanders start CPR on this. And not only was it, strangers have a hard time, but it's even harder when family members have to do this on their own family members. The next three people I want to recognize are sometimes people that I don't want to say are forgotten, but they are somewhat detached from what we would normally call first responders, and they should very much be as a first responder, and they are our dispatchers. When you pick up and call 911, you're talking to a telecommunications specialist, a professional that is only not calming you down during the worst day of your event, of your life, but they are sometimes giving you instructions over the phone on what to do to prevent loss of life and limb. And that is an extremely hard profession to do. And as a department, as a chief, I have the utmost respect for all of our dispatchers. So the first dispatcher I'd like to bring up is Pamela Packard. She works for New Hampshire 911. Is Pamela here? Just so you all know, this is the first time everybody's meeting. Okay, this is a very special ceremony, and this is the first time people are putting names and faces and voices together. So Pamela answered the 911 call, and she gave the instructions over the telephone on how to save Ronald and on how to perform correct CPR. She does this job every single day. Unfortunately, a lot of times the dispatchers don't know what happens with the patient. They're with the patient on the telephone for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then it's on to the next call, and they don't get a chance to hear. And I wanted them to hear that they do make a difference in what we do. I often joke around with our dispatchers and saying that they always tell us where to go. They don't even ask us; they just tell us. You know. The next dispatcher is Heidi Coker. Heidi, would you come up? So our dispatchers work as a team. Obviously, one of them's tied up on a telephone giving instructions to the caller on what to do to help save life and limb. The other dispatcher has to call our dispatch center and alert us that there's a problem in our town. So that was Heidi's role in this. She transferred, if you will, the 911 call to us, typing stuff in the computer, and alerting our dispatcher, Megan Monterosa. That we had a call, and obviously she, at that point, takes over the dispatching for our resources and gets us everything that we need, from additional units to notifying a hospital or checking on a destination to make sure the hospital could accept a patient like this that's coming in that's extremely critical. The next 3 individuals, which I'm not sure if they are here, okay, I know they had some calls earlier, is from our police department. Sergeant Kyle Coakley, which I believe is out. Is that correct? He's out training this week, so he's not going to be able to be here. Sergeant Stephen DeHulu. He's on a call. Okay, so I wasn't totally incorrect. And Officer Timothy Detremont. He's on vacation. Anyway, they are a lot of times the first responders that arrive before us are already in their car. They're out patrolling. They got there just a few minutes before we did. They were part of what I call the team. From the 911 dispatcher to our providers, it's a team effort of what we do. The next individual is one of our paramedics who was in charge. She was in charge of taking care of this patient. She's the one that's doing all the critical care and making sure everything is done right to give this individual the best chance of survival possible. Lana Poirier. And again, this is the first time that they're meeting each other, because you probably don't remember much, do you, about what happened? Yeah. Working with Lana on the ambulance was one of our firefighter EMTs, Brandon Merrill. Whenever an ambulance goes on a call, we typically send a fire engine with it for safety, manpower, and such, especially on a critical call like this. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight because he's ill, as Captain Eric LaFrancis was the captain on duty that night on the fire engine. Lieutenant Derek Travers was also on this call. Firefighter EMT Patrick Kiley. Lieutenant Nick Piccolo, but I don't believe he's out of town, correct? Still, he could not make it. And firefighter Scott Bradstreet. So I'm going to read, we got a special commendation plaque that we issue, along with some pins that we're going to give out as well. Everybody that I talked about, the names is on that plaque, so they'll ever be memorialized for you all. And the bottom of it reads, Box 597, 13th of May, 2024, run number 24-00534, 16 Kelly Road. 9 Echo 1, 71-year-old male, unresponsive, not breathing, no pulse. On the evening of May 13th, 2024, a 71-year-old male collapsed on his porch. The immediate activation of 911, the emergency medical dispatcher instructions, bystander CPR, the quick response of emergency personnel, life-saving actions. Post-cardiac arrest care was administered through the hospital staff, and the individual has made a complete recovery. The bravery of bystander actions and the professionalism performed by the pre-hospital response team are the highest tradition of the Plastow Fire Department. This commendation awarded on July 22nd, 2024 by Plastow Fire Chief Chris Knudsen. Something that you see in emergency services, especially in a cardiac arrest, is something that's called the chain of survival. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the chain of survival. Early activation of emergency care. Early activation of emergency response, high quality CPR, defibrillation, advanced resuscitation, post-cardiac arrest care, and recovery. It's an honor to be here tonight, and it's an honor to meet you. And I am so glad we could get you back to your family. So I'm going to pass out some plaques and pins real quick. Would you like to say anything?
I was just grateful that you were there. It was very scary, and I don't know what I would have done, but.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Selectmen, and invited guests from the town of Plastow. My name is Mark Doyle. I'm the Director of the Division of Emergency Services and Communications, overseeing 911 operations for the state. And this is, as Chief Knudsen had said, is a classic example of what the chain of survival can accomplish when all of the chains links come together and hold strong through the course of an emergency situation, and we're here to celebrate a survivor of that process. And you see folks from the entire public safety community that have come together to make this happen, from the 911 telecommunicators to the public safety dispatchers to the fire service, the EMS and rescue personnel involved, and law enforcement as well. It only works when all of the links come together, and it only works when everybody is committed to the mission of public safety. And you can see that clearly today here in Plastow. And I'm going to introduce Heidi Coker. Heidi is our supervisor, as you met just earlier. She's going to read a proclamation from the folks here at 911 to the rest of the public safety community that's being recognized today, and on behalf of our survivor. And Heidi, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Heidi.
So I was the supervisor on duty this night when this incident came into our PSAP. Pleased to be able to write this letter of accommodation to you, Pam, for a call you handled. You received a call for 16 Kelly Street in Plastow for a male who collapsed on the front porch. After asking case entry to ensure of the situation, you requested myself to start Plastow ambulance and police within 57 seconds of the call. CPR instructions were provided and clarified when the caller needed further assistance. You managed to get hands on chest within 2 minutes and 16 seconds into the call, which is imperative for the best care possible. Responders arrived just before the call reached 6 minutes, at which point you released the call. Your performance throughout this call was nothing less than exceptional. You quickly provided CPR instructions, assisted the caller to ensure the instructions were clear, reassured the caller several times throughout the call, and made sure the rate of CPR was accurate to ensure the best possible care while responders were on the way. The Division of Emergency Services Communications proudly issues this letter of commendation to you, Pam, for your determination and efforts. So congratulations and thank you.
We'll put you right here in the middle. Yes, we had the easy part. You had the hardest job on everything that happened.
All right, everyone kind of step back almost towards the partition there. Move over a bit. Kind of try to get everyone in there. All right. If we can make this work, if everyone can kind of hunch in a little closer.
You guys are a big family now. Slide in.
Okay, there we go. A little bit tight squeeze. I think we're going to do it. Couple more. Perfect.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to our fire and our police and our dispatchers. You know, that's what this emergency management, emergency service is all about. And it's the teamwork that you guys all have and provided. So we're glad you're still here with us today, sir. And it's, so thank you all for making that happen. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Give me a few minutes. All right.
Second car yesterday, so yeah. Yeah, I
Good job, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
I know.
No, you did
Have
the
a great
hard part,
team.
getting the ambulance.
I missed something in there then. Need a couple John Hancocks here. Ah, okay.
Mine's right there. You must be above mine, sir.
I guess so, but I don't know why, because I'm in after you.
Well,
I
you
didn't
know,
see yours on the.
it's all right. Man. It's all right. You know,
What's up? I missed mine.
I'm just always the low guy on the totem pole.
That button.
Oh, I hit it one night, and I kept hitting it and not knowing what it was.
how are you? Good. Oh my gosh, yes. I know, and I'm like, I think that's Brenda. She looks really nice with her hair done. She is. I love her.
Yeah.
I'll ask tomorrow.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. All right, so next on our agenda this evening, we have the Rockingham County Commissioner, Brian Chiricello, to give us an update on the goings-on around Rockingham County. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Select board members. My name is Brian Chiricello. I am the chairman of the Rockingham County Commissioners.
Let them get out the door.
Let them-
so we can
okay.
Have some clarity for our
Yeah,
audience.
no worries. I have a cheat sheet. That was really impressive. In full disclosure, I also wear a second hat. I'm a town councilor in the town of Derry, fourth largest community in the state, and I've been through one of those, and it's quite moving. So that was really nice. The fact that you've got the younger generation getting involved in the fire service is unbelievably tremendous, because we need these people. in these services. So that was great just to watch that. So I'm really happy that I'm here for that. So as I mentioned, I'm the chairman of the county commissioners. I'm very happy because I don't get beat up when the tax bills come up because I'm the smallest piece of the tax bill. So on the town of Derry, on the town side, it's a little bit different, but we're talking about the county commissioners. A lot of people don't know what a county commissioner does, and I did ask the chairman earlier when the last time a person from the county was here, and they had mentioned it was 7 years ago, something like that. That's unfortunate, but I'm happy to be here just to let you guys and gals know what's going on at the county level. Many people don't know what a county commissioner does. And so there's 3 of us, 3 commissioners in each county, and there's 10 counties in the state. We oversee a $103 million budget. And like you, selectmen, it's sort of like our job as commissioners. But you have got a town manager, and that's the difference. We don't have a county administrator or a county manager at Rockingham County. So the commissioner's job is really quite important. We handle a lot of the day-to-day operations, and we've got 500 employees. We've got 8 unions. And in the county consists of long-term care, which is the nursing home, assisted living, the sheriff's department, the county attorney's office, the registry of deeds, Department of Corrections, the county jail, and buildings and maintenance. Also with the sheriff, we have a dispatch as well. And so I want to just really briefly let you know some of the great things that are happening at our county. So long-term care, when I was elected in 2020, we were rated as a 2-star facility. What does that mean? Medicare.gov rates all of the nursing homes, private and public. It's a government rating. And we went from a 2-star to a 5-star rating, which is the highest rating you can get. We've been there for the last 2.5 years, which is great. So we're giving high quality service to our citizens. And then on top of that, we're 2 years deficiency free. What does that mean? So the state comes in and looks for violations in the nursing home, any violation, and they found 0 for 2 years. Now, you would think that that's great, which it is, but each time you get a deficiency free rating, it gets tougher each time. And we're waiting for our 3rd visit from the feds and the state. So we'll see how that works. But to have 5-star rating, 2 years deficiency free, is really, really good news. We have assisted living. When I started in 2020 with the COVID period, we didn't have assisted living at the time. They just didn't bring in any more people, but now we have assisted living section, and that's 81 beds. And it's nice because you're in assisted living, which is a little bit better than the nursing home side, but you're not that far from nursing home. So it's an easy move if that needs to happen. That assisted living is deficiency free as well. Then I've got my sheriff's office. So when we were there, I'm a big law enforcement person, supporter, and fire as a matter of fact. But so the sheriff's office wasn't really being utilized to its greatest potential. And at the time, we saw fentanyl become a worse and worse issue. The Sheriff Maceos really dedicated in fighting the drug epidemic, in fighting these drug dealers coming from the Mass line coming up. So we're working with federal partners to get the fentanyl off the street. And knock off drugs as well. We've invested in 2 police dogs. So we've given the sheriff department the tools that they need to be successful there. My county attorney's office, Pat Conway, that whole office handles quite a caseload. They each have about 125 cases that they're using. The average in the state's usually 50, so they've got a really tough workload. Being at Rockingham County, as you may think, we're very busy. We've got my registry of deeds. They do all the recording of when you properties sell, and we're digitalizing all of the old paper records so that we have those and we can preserve those. And then my Department of Corrections is the jail. We're the 2nd Department of Corrections, the 2nd county jail, or the 2nd jail actually, to be able to use, administer Suboxone and drugs that help people get off of fentanyl. We can deliver that inside the jail. The first was in Massachusetts. We were the second, where other counties actually have to ship inmates. If they're going through withdrawals, they've got to take them off-site. So it's a lot more costly. We can do that inside the jail. So we're the second in the country for that. And then lastly, as I mentioned, we've got the $103 million budget and the eight unions there. We're actually doing a building. I don't know if anyone had a chance to go by the building. There's a lot of buzz about it. It's very exciting. We were in the front page of the Eagle Tribune yesterday about the building. The nice part about the building is when I was elected, all the counties across the country got federal money, ARPA money. I'm sure you're all aware of what ARPA money is. I'm sure Plastow got some of that. So we used a big chunk of that to actually realize the building. And then the delegation, and what I mean by the delegation, if you don't know, when you're a state rep, you also do double duty as a county delegation member. They're in control of the overall up or down of the budget. They approve our budget. So they did a bond for $25 million for 20 years on the backside of that building. That's how we were able to do that. The nice part about that was we did this over a couple of years ago, where our interest rate on the bond is 2.35%. When I say the stars aligned, the stars aligned. And we also had a bond that was coming up at the county. So it was $835,000. We were in the last year of that bond. So now we just actually use that money to replace some of the new bond. We've got another bond coming up this year. It's another $300,000. And then what we're doing with the new building is we're moving I don't know if anyone's been at the Registry of Deeds or the County Attorney's Office. We rent space at Brentwood Courthouse. The state owns the courthouse. So my Registry of Deeds and my county attorney are in the basement of the courthouse. And I can tell you that it's not been the most pleasant place to be for my employees. There's been many issues over time. We pay rent to the state of $300,000 a year. So when this building is done, I'll save the $300 and put it into the new bond. So I've got my Registry of Deeds going to the new building, my county attorney's office, and the sheriff's office. Sheriff's office is above the Department of Corrections. That was supposed to be a short-term building for my sheriff's department. That was 30 years ago. So when we have the building, you can tell that everybody's excited that they're going to have a little bit more space. If you've ever been in the sheriff's office, you're in closets. My dispatcher in closets. They've got no windows. So this is going to be a really good upgrade for all of them. And then lastly, before I ask if you have any questions at all, I just want to show how fiscally conservative we are as a county. So the amount of taxation that comes there's 37 communities in Rockingham County, and then the amount that we tax all the towns in the one city. In 2020, that number was $50,297,000. In 21, it was $49,457,000. That was a reduction, an actual cut in taxes of 1.7%. The following year, in 2022, it was $49,791,000. It was a 0.07 increase. Okay, in 23, it was $49,791,000, a level fund. And then in fiscal 24, it was $51,370,000. So if you take that 5-year picture, it basically boils down to a 2% overall increase in taxes, okay? While inflation at the same time was 17.4%. That's including my building. Okay, the building's the numbers are already baked into the taxes. So that's how fiscally conservative we are. Now, last year, I will tell you that last year there was a small increase. one of the things that we're having a little bit of problems with are nurses, trying to find nurses for the nursing home. I have to staff at certain levels. And the nursing industry is taking a really big hit. So I've got to use traveling nurses, and they typically cost 3 times the amount. So we've got a plan in place to try to get these nurses. We're raising the pay, and we're going to do everything we can to actually employ them. And then the Department of Corrections, 2 years ago, I had sort of a similar issue. I couldn't find anyone that wanted to work at the jails. I had mandatory overtime. I had people that were being sent to county jail with mental health issues, and my staff wasn't trained for mental health. So it was tough, and we had to do something. So we had a plan, and we looked at the pay scales, and we changed the pay scales. I can happily say that we've fixed that problem. So that's where we're at. I mean, it's all great news at Rockingham County. I'm really proud to be part of it. I'm proud to be able to report to Plastow, the Selectmen. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. I know you have a busy schedule.
Anyone have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Britton.
I've got 3 of them.
Okay.
Okay. Are all personnel going to be leaving the existing building and that building will become vacant?
Okay, so
The courthouse, the existing.
so the courthouse, we've got the county attorney's office,
Right.
and then registry of deeds in the basement. They'll come out, and then the state will have to figure out what they're going to do with the building. That'll be a state.
That's what I mean, is nobody that's in there now will be staying in there.
There's some talk about maybe having a little satellite office because my county attorneys are there at court. So it's not that far from the building to the courthouse, but we may have like a few different desks there as a satellite office. It's possible.
Even though the building is a sick building, essentially.
Yeah, I don't like to say it, but it had mold issues. It had sewer backup. It's not a good place for my employees. I've had to shut it down. I've had to send them home. It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
When will the new building be ready?
The building will be ready next June. I can tell you that I've been a part of the planning. So let me back up a little bit. Before I was county commissioner, I did 5 terms as a state rep from town of Derry. And as I mentioned earlier, when you're a state rep, you do county delegation work. I was on the executive board of that, and I was able to be on the building committee. And I will mention that Norm Majors, I served with him. This was Norm Majors really pushed for this, so I'm happy that it's actually coming to fruition. And without him pushing that, I don't know where we'd be. But the fact of the matter is I got on early, planned the building with a lot of other people, and so now it's actually coming to fruition. And I'll let you ask the third question.
And the third question may be a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
The bid came in for $66 million on that building.
Yeah.
It's now $77 million.
Okay.
What's the extra $11 million?
Perfect, because I forgot to mention that in my beginning report. So we've got $10 million set aside for a solar array. So we're going to have the building, and then we're going to have the solar array, which will be the largest in the state of New Hampshire. It's 8,800 panels, solar panels.
Right.
If you've been down at Brentwood, you can see it. I didn't cut one tree. It's all field, and it gets sun all day long. Here's the best part about it. I budget $600,000 a year for electricity every year for all of the county. That gets wiped out for the next 30, 35 years. I won't pay a bill. Okay, so that'll generate all the electricity in all of the county complex. That's number one. Number two, I would generate $150,000 in extra revenue, which they call RECs,
right.
When they produce those. So I'll have that. So that's $750,000 per year. You do the math. That's a $22.5 million return to the taxpayers. Okay.
Is that where the extra $11 million was?
10 million. 10 million. So it's 10 million for the solar.
Okay.
And 67 million for the building. That's the overall 77 million.
Okay.
I'm using federal dollars, again, for the solar piece. But here's the great part about it. I'm using a company called Revision. They're based out of Brentwood. That company, the employees own
Right.
the company. It's employee owned. I'm keeping $10 million in Brentwood, local, okay? And that's going to benefit the local community there. So it's all really good news. I'm hoping that I'm back. It's election time in September, but we'll see that I can actually help cut the ribbon there and see the building and see how great the solar is going to work. But
Terrific.
yeah, I appreciate those questions.
Any other questions? What types of revenue does the county commissioner or commission take in for its
So we have,
buildings?
yeah, we have Medicare and Medicaid that comes in. So as I mentioned, we're 103 million, and 50 of that is through taxation.
Right.
The rest is coming in through revenues.
Right.
Commendable job.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy it. As I mentioned, I've been in town politics, I've been in state politics, and now I'm in county politics. And I do like the executive branch. So if you don't mind, I can leave you a card.
Yes,
That'd be
please.
great.
We can do CDBG grants. We can do CDBG grants.
Thank you.
Utilize some yourself. Extra project.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You can go through. Just do it.
What are those again?
CDBG grants. Federal government's typically 500,000 each time. I'm sure you've done some of those.
Done some grants. I'm not sure that one in particular, but.
There's 5 different categories where you get state money.
Mhm.
So we can do the application for you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night. All right. Do we have, is the chief here to speak? No? You're going that way. Okay. All right, we will move on to, we juggled public comment. Anyone here for public comment? Please come up and state your name and address.
Ryan LeBrecq, 174 Main Street.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Congrats to the fire department and the police department in general. That's a fantastic example of the core responsibilities of government. I just wanted to comment on some of the continuing things that I've been looking into, as well as some of the issues from last meeting. Last time I came with like 4 full-size pages of notes. I used little paper this time to try and keep it to a minimum for y'all. But I still have a lot in my brain, so hopefully I won't have verbal diarrhea. Anyway, the fire department roof, I requested to see a construction contract for the roof replacement. And I don't know if I just don't think that we obviously do not have robust contracting in our policies and procedures for the town. The response was that we signed the contractor's quote, and that was the contract. And, as a homeowner, I wouldn't hire someone to put a roof on my house, let alone $150,000 or more project by signing a contractor's quote. For many reasons, not the least of which, I guess it's a contract, so is signing something on this piece of paper. But it doesn't protect the town at all. The first thing, we learn in construction contracting is we never even reference a contractor's quote, let alone sign or include it in an actual construction contract. We have construction terms and conditions in a robust contract that doesn't need to be 30, 40 pages, can be 2 or 3 pages, but it references the design that we paid for, which the contractor's quote does not. So we hired a consultant to create a design, do an investigation. We got bids supposedly based on that design. The proposal doesn't reference said design. And we've signed the proposal that I assume obligates us to that company to construct that project. And there's nothing in there that really says what they're doing other than their words on describing what they're going to do. So there's no teeth in the contract. There's nothing to hold them accountable to, et cetera. Beyond that, there's no insurance requirements listed. What are the insurance requirements? What does the town require for insurance for the contract? Should all be listed in the contract. Is the contractor bonded? Are we getting a bond? Do we not want a bond? Obviously, we're not getting a bond, so there's nothing holding the contractor to it. Fairly low risk on a $150,000 contract, but still things of that nature should be incorporated in the contract. Payment terms, owner's right to direct changes, the change order process, manufacturer's inspections, warranty certificate samples, default, termination for cause, convenience, et cetera, all of which should be part of a robust construction contract to build a project. We don't have that. And it's beyond just construction. I mean, I've reviewed some of the landscaping contracts, some other contracts. The standard procedure apparently is to just sign contractors' quotes, which is not very good. It's not very good. Another question I have was what funds were used to fund the roof contract? Was it those ARPA funds?
You can go back and watch the meeting. It's all in the meeting.
All right. Very helpful. Thanks for your.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your.
It's $154,000.
Collaboration.
We took money from ARPA. We took money from existing capital funds
Thank you for answering the
to
question.
pay for that. So
Do we have a contingency in place for changes when we rip off the roof and find more problems? And did we budget 10, 15% potentially? That's likely going to happen on a roof replacement project. So going into,
well, if
So
you
there's
have,
just
if you
extreme room
have
for-
questions, just so we can make sure we answer them correctly for you, if you have questions, can you just leave them in with your email and we'll answer them and get them back to you. This is public comment. You're here to
this is a
comment.
comment. This is public
So-
comment. I've been waiting a while, which
Yep.
is fine.
You have.
And whenever I'm around, the agenda pushes the public comment back, which is fine. I wanted to stay for the fire department stuff anyway. And was happy to hear about or understand more about the county commissioner. Those are all questions. I just asked lots of questions. And the answer is we don't have a robust process to contract construction work. And this is not, this is my attempt to try to help elevate our game when we do this work. The reason we have to do this work is because 6 or 7 years ago, a contractor was hired and did shoddy work, and there was no teeth to hold them to anything. So now we're back 7 years later replacing the same roof that was installed incorrectly. With the contract that was executed, we're going down the same path, and we don't want to go down that same path. And I know the intention of all of you is to not go down that same path. I don't
As we mentioned
think you're doing anything
previously
purposefully
in the last
in
meetings,
that regard.
they're all certified in the installation of this. So their installation of this roof. That's
fine, but the way the roof warranties
So,
work.
Mr. Lebrecht, we've been over this with you. You've had your right to know request put in. We've given you the information. Not sure what, and you're well over the time frame, and I'm giving you leeway. So do you have any other different questions that you want answered? or
I'm
comments.
asking for the board to consider implementing a contracting process that is standard and look into augmenting the agreements that are being agreed to by the town in order to protect the taxpayers,
We certainly will take that under
yourselves as
advisement
well.
for sure.
Yeah. We'll
That's
look
what I'm
into that.
asking.
Yeah.
That's the question.
We'll take it under advisement, absolutely.
Fantastic. Next, in regard to the ambulance, I watched the last week's meeting today. I understand we billed $485,000. Some of that, $60,000 or so, has already been written off for various reasons, which is normal in the process. It was very vague on how much was actually collected. There were some numbers of 32,000. Is 32,000 all that's been collected on $485,000 in billing since March of this year?
The
time of-
insurance company's only paid that much so far. Again, insurance companies sometimes take up to 4 to 5 months to pay out.
I understand. It wasn't clear whether the 32,000 was for 1 month or the
Right.
32,000 was for the whole year.
Nothing has been written off at this point. It's too new to write anything off.
So are we tracking 30, 60, 90-day account receivables on all of these?
We are.
So in 3 months' time, we've collected 32,000 of 485,000.
Which is not unexpected, let's put it that way.
Okay.
And it was stated at that meeting that we had not received the June billing
I understand that.
information. So,
It was an estimate. Town manager put together an estimate.
and we've only been doing this for, what is this, 4 months at this point? So
I understand that.
this is going to take a little more time. I
Mhm.
hope people can be patient while we get this information. It's going to take time,
I expect that a
to-
large amount is
to
going to be written
see-
off.
the realization of this.
You never
Understood.
go into a contract expecting something to be written off.
Well, I think in general, the way that insurance works is you're only going to recover a certain amount. I still don't understand why we're charging 50% of what the for-profit service would charge. Because why would we let insurance companies pay the town less than they would pay anyone else? Just my opinion. I understand the intent is to keep the cost of the service down for those that maybe not have insurance, and that's fine, but you can make that determination in the meeting. Obviously, there's still some more work to do to determine what that is going to look like when you have uninsured.
Right.
But why would you start at 50% of the rate when you're basically giving insurance companies a break, and that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
The overall recovery would be greater if we build somewhat closer to what the for-profit services are already billing those insurance companies. Understood they may not pay that amount.
We'll bring that back to the chief. I know he's talked about that before through this whole process, so.
You mentioned that some of the insurance companies are actually being billed at full stroke.
How can you bill some of them full and not all of them?
And some automatically pay full stroke. Medicare and so forth have set parameters.
No, I understand that. They have established maximums, that's fine, but for private insurance, we should be billing what the maximum they'll pay for these services typically. Not saying to rip anybody off or even an insurance company off, but don't let them off the hook either. Next question I have is in regards to the sign. So what these ARPA funds, what can they be used for?
Exactly what we're using them for.
That's not an answer. Like anything?
It can be used anything except for offsetting taxes.
Okay, so it can be used to offset current budget.
There's
line
probably a
items.
little more tighter parameters on that. And I'll let Greg.
This is public comment. I'm not here to answer questions. If you want to make an appointment, come talk to me, which I did spend 2 hours with you about a year ago. So you know my door is open. You can come talk to me then. This is public comment, not a question and answer session.
Public comment is this is the only chance to ask questions to the board.
You
No.
can make an appointment, or you can put in a request to be added to the agenda, sir. That is the process. This
So-
is a
So
meeting that
here's
is.
my public comment on this, not a question. My public comment on this is that we have funds that can be used for anything, which can include, instead of looking for things to spend money on, defraying costs that we already have coming in.
And we've already done that. We've been doing this for the last 2 years. So if you
So-
have any other questions, you're
All
way
of
over
the
your
funds
time.
can be
So
used for said
if you're
purpose.
done, we're going to move on with
So
our meeting.
So I request that the remainder of the ARPA funds be used to offset the remaining cost of the fire engine that is not covered by the grant.
Okay. We'll take it under advisement. Thank you.
I don't understand why there's so much animosity toward me and my questions and people walking out because I'm asking questions. I'm not asking them in a manner that is trying to, I'm asking questions so I can understand and get some answers. That's it. I'm being respectful and
Okay.
this is the purpose of public comment, not.
No, actually, it's not.
Okay,
Public
what is the
comment
purpose
is
of
for you to
public comment? Teach me
comment.
the purpose of
This
public
isn't a
comment.
back and forth Q&A session. It's for you to make your comments. If you have questions, we will take your questions. You can, or make an appointment with one of us or the town manager, and we'll sit and answer your questions for you. This isn't a back and forth during the meeting.
What other opportunity does the public have to talk to all of you together? I have to make an appointment with every one of you to tell you all the same things? That's what public comment's for. It's very inconvenient that someone's showing up to comment, and I know you'd prefer if nobody showed up and just let you do whatever you wanted to do and
That's your
watch
opinion,
from
sir.
afar
So if you're
and complain
done,
on Facebook.
we're done.
I'm
We're
here
done.
to
You've
have a conversation and also
right, but
hopefully get some questions
Mr.
answered.
LeBrecq, we're done. Public comment is done. We've used our time allowed for public comment. So
So if I bring 40 people here,
you'll all have 3 minutes each.
okay.
It's probably a.
And I've given you way more than
Where's
3 minutes.
listed? Why is it 3 minutes?
It's in the policies and procedure for the Board of Selectmen. It's on our
For 3
webpage.
minutes a month, the public is allowed to question what the board does.
Normally,
Otherwise,
Normally,
there's no questioning
we leave
kings
it
and queens.
to the leeway, but because this is always a dog and pony show with you.
It's not a dog
that-
and pony show.
No.
I'm asking questions.
Right, and
And
make an
nobody's
appointment
asking.
with the town manager
Nobody's
or
asking.
other selectmen, and
I
we will
ask
answer your
questions of the town
questions.
manager via
So I am
email.
done.
I get no response.
You are done. Thank you. Moving on.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
night.
We'll see you next month.
Yep.
Or next meeting, whenever that comes.
No, it's fine.
Actually, I'd prefer if you had me removed from the building. I think that'd be hilarious.
No, we're all
That would
done.
be
So
actually very hilarious. It's ridiculous that you'd even comment that.
thank you and have a good night. We're all
This is
done.
what hostile citizens get for asking questions, all right? We get accused and we get asked to leave the building or we'll be removed by the police.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Let's get a town manager that enjoys his job.
Yeah. All right, next up, we have Old Home Day 2025. Recently, we've had some resignations on that committee, so it's going to be on the board at this point to set the date. There are a couple remaining members, but right now, we're looking at the date of, I think, June 21st, 2025.
June 21st.
Yeah, as a possible date for Old Home Day next year. So let me just get my calendar up. It's actually the 19th, sorry. So sorry, I had the wrong month. In June, the Saturdays are 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. Because the school year is starting so late this year, the last day of school, I believe, is the 18th or the 19th.
I believe it was the 19th when we checked the calendar,
Right.
without snow days.
Right. So The thought might be to do it on the 21st. We potentially have the 28th, but that goes up against 4th of July week, which I don't know if we want to push that with residents plus staff maybe taking time off. So,
I think the 21st.
okay.
Let's book it tentative the 21st and get the committee that is in place.
Right.
Confirm and bring it back to the board.
Okay. So, anyone want to make a motion to tentatively set Old Home Day 2025 for June 21st?
I make that motion.
All right, motion from John, second.
I will second that.
Second from Liz. I'll take this opportunity. I just want to thank Shauna Manthorn, Roy Walling, and Leah McKean. They served on the Old Home Day Committee the last 3 to 4 years, and putting on Old Home Day is a selfless effort. So they've really done a great job of doing that, and they're taking some much needed time. And we are looking to fill some of those positions. So I wanted to thank them for all their work and
Absolutely.
effort on the committee, and I'm sure the residents appreciate all your effort and time
And
that
we'd
you
love
put
to have
into
you
that.
back.
Yes, please come back. But, so we do have we are taking letters of interest for anyone on the Old Home Day Committee. We do have one letter. We'll take them up at a future meeting, but we're going to take letters until the end of August. Hopefully there'll be enough folks that put their letters in so that we can appoint all of them and have the committee back up at full strength. So all those in favor of the motion to set Old Home Day tentatively for June 21st, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. All right, next up we have, since Tammy has resigned and Darrell has filled in that spot, we need to choose or fill Tammy's positions on some of the boards and committees. So the first up is Concom, Conservation Commission, and Tammy was the primary and Liz was the alternate, so I guess I'll give Liz the opportunity. Would you like the primary?
Yes, please.
Okay. So make Liz the primary. Would anyone, since I'm the alternate on the planning board, I can't be on the Concom?
First Thursday is the board meeting at the Fishing Cave. First and second Thursday, I'm committed to for the next year.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
And Bill is planning.
And Bill's away, and Bill is planning, so that leaves Darrell as the backup.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay, Darrell?
Just do me a favor.
Yeah.
Remind me when it is.
I will.
Next up is the Town Report Committee. She was the alternate for the Town Report.
I was second rep.
And you're the second. So there's 2 reps to that committee plus an alternate. So I can do the alternate. Everyone's okay with that, unless, okay. And then last is Historical Society. Tammy was the primary, John was the alternate.
I'll take primary.
Okay.
Historical.
And I know Bill expressed interest in doing the alternate, so is everyone good with that?
Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
making a lot of those meetings.
Okay. I just know he wasn't going to be here tonight, so. All right, so that's set, so thank you. And
You have one
then,
more.
yeah, and then the hazmat at the
But
bottom.
that only meets once a year and it's already met.
Right,
Oh, I'll do that.
But you think my name's on there, but actually, it's a great, it's a good
I'll do it. In case you need me to step in. So I think that's it for that, so. Thank you. Let's see.
So there you go, Tammy, you can enjoy the rest of the time down in Florida.
That's right.
Knowing that everything's taken care of.
So next, we have the consent agenda. We have accounts payable manifest of July 18th and the 25th, draft BOS minutes for July 8th, a warrant article, one warrant for land use change tax, and one municipal use change tax bill. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Liz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Depending on your mouth is.
Yeah, I forgot to put one in the signature folder. Sorry.
Pass that down, please.
This way. All right, I have we'll skip the action item list for tonight. Town manager's report.
Good evening. In your folders, there's a couple of items to discuss. One was the revenues for the first 6 months, which similar to the revenues, after the first quarter, the trend is, staying pretty steady. We're noticing an uptick, with interest and costs being collected out of the tax office. The registration, motor vehicle registrations are up fairly significantly over that, to this point last year. Building inspection fees are up slightly, and the interest income is up, as well as obviously the income from departments will show, the uptick because of the ambulance, being in there and that line item. So that report is in there for your review. Also, the assessors have issued their assessment to sales ratio that was just completed by memo dated July 20th. And basically, the real key is on the second page, the ratio comparison, where under all sales, right after we did the reval of 2021, we were at 96.6%. In 2022, if you remember, it dropped significantly down to 77. Since then, it has dropped a little bit more in 2023 to 74%, and then the preliminary ratio right now for 2024 is down to 72%, and that's across all sales. But as you can see, between single-family, condos, commercial, it's all within 1 or 2 percentage points. So it's pretty much across the board. But that is, what properties are selling at as a percentage of what they are assessed for. So, and this is with the eye on, the reval, in 2026. And what always ends up being a question is whether, we want to do, the statistical update or not. But you can review that if the assessor has offered to come in and meet with the board. Should the board, want to ask questions and discuss this further. But it's a piece of information. Like I said, after the initial, drop to 22, it has kind of leveled out, since then. So other than that, the police chief informed me the speed trailer is back and will be deployed this week. Have been busy still with quarterlies at the end of the quarter between revenue, trust funds, where the water billing for the second quarter will be going out. Have spent time with department heads, on a variety of different topics, personnel, CIP, and the like. We did onboard a new staff member here at Town Hall, which I believe most of the board has met at this point. But she's been here for a little over a week now, so that is going well. And have been spending time finalizing the water grant, getting the information to governor and council, hopefully for an August meeting and approval, so we can get going on that as soon as possible. So.
Okay. Thank you. All right, next up, we have Selectmen's reports. Daryl?
I have nothing.
All right. Liz?
There was the cookout for Elder Affairs. It was very well attended. And I also went to go check out the Dominion voting machines in Hollis, New Hampshire. They look very similar to what we have now. I do know that our moderator, Mr. Harb, is looking for us to have someone come and look at the other machines so that we can make a comparison. So, but that won't be until October or November.
I thought we had decided on a machine. You know, back 4 or 5 months ago, we were gonna go with a certain machine, and that was on the recommendation of the moderator, both
So-
moderators. And, I mean, we've only been kicking this around now for about 2 or 3 years between two machines.
So it's the state and the Secretary of State who are saying these are the two machines
Right.
that we need to decide, but neither one has been certified with the state of New Hampshire yet.
Okay,
They've not certified. They have to go through specific process.
so when were they gonna certify them?
The gentleman that did the Dominion
That's what we're waiting on.
demonstration had no idea when, and after I had been there, I spoke with Mr. Harb,
Yeah.
and he's like, it's all up to the Secretary of State. So,
So we're probably not gonna meet this year's.
so it will not, the machines will not be used for this election cycle for 2024. They were kind of hoping for 2025 or later.
Okay.
So, but
we
that
won't-
could be misinformation as of today. I don't know. Like, it
gotcha.
changes weekly.
And even if we were to act now, we would probably, if we could make a decision, I don't
Right.
think we'd have those machines available for the March election anyway, so.
So because we need to put in an order for the Dominion now because there is a huge waiting list. But I believe the state is paying for a piece of that,
Yes, they're reimbursing up to,
3,500 or
yeah, it's
7,000?
3,500 per
3,500
machine.
machine.
And since we're replacing 3 machines, we would be putting in for 3 machines.
So,
So we'll have the old ones for the presidential election.
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Steady Eddie.
that's it. Okay.
All right.
That's all I got.
All right, thank you.
I haven't
John?
attended any meetings since the last meeting.
Okay.
What's that?
I said I haven't attended any
Oh,
exterior meetings since the last meeting.
All right. For me, I went to the senior cookout. I attended the Elder Affairs meeting, but they didn't have enough for a quorum. But we did sign birthday cards and send it out to some vets up in the vet hospital up in, I believe it's in Tilton. Is that where it is? Yeah. So we did that, and they just discussed some of their upcoming activities, but didn't really make any decisions. So budget committee, they're looking to possibly have a meeting coming up. I don't know a date yet. I guess the chair is looking for a date to do kind of like a workshop and maybe look at the policies and procedures. So that should be coming out soon. CIP, we didn't have enough for the CIP to get going this month, so we're going to meet next month. And that's all I have for that. Events, we just have concerts on the green are still going on. That's it. I don't know of any other events. Anyone else? No? Okay. Other business? Okay. Do we need a non-public?
No, sir.
All right. I'll adjourn the meeting at 7:40. Thank you. Have a good night.